There's a kind of quiet that isn't peaceful, it's just honest. Not when it's busy, not when you're booked, not when you feel like you're making the boss moves. Because honestly, silence doesn't trend well on Instagram. Everybody posts a before and after, but nobody records in the middle. The quiet part where you almost quit. I'm Tahquetta Hunter, the proud owner of Technically Tahquetta Designs, as well as Teased by Tahquetta. And this is the This Sunday podcast where every week I reset and I look at what I did the following week or look at what I did the previous week, and I try to make sure that I'm a better business owner than I was the last week. So let me start with a quiet moment. I remember being in the hospital with my oldest. She's 16 now, so it's been some years ago. And when I was pregnant with her, I just had this weird feeling one day driving to work, and it was almost like I was dizzy driving to work, and I could not figure out what was going on. And I just remember trying my very best to just get to work. I feel like I knew if I had gotten to work that I would be okay. And I was, but on the way, I had this feeling like I couldn't see out of one eye. I looked in the mirror, I looked to see if my face was swollen, and it wasn't. But when I got to work, I just felt like I needed to sit down. I thought that I was going to pass out. I ended up having to call somebody to pick me up. Fast forward a little later, I had all these scans and different things when I was pregnant with my daughter, and they ended up finding absolutely nothing, but they thought that it was some kind of paralysis. Now, I'm fast forwarding through a lot of this story to get to the point. I got to the end of the pregnancy and I went into the doctor's appointment. He said, "Hey, I almost see the baby." I was 28 weeks, scariest time of my life. And I ended up being in the hospital for 2 weeks. And the doctor said, "Hey, you can finish your bed rest at home." Cool. I packed my bags, got everything together, and I said, "Hey, I need to go to the restroom." Boom, water broke. She was born within 24 hours. Now, the part that I left out was that when I was pregnant with her, I suffered from double vision, and I struggled to see without an eye patch most of the pregnancy. And when I was in the hospital after immediately after I had her, I could see my vision returning. Remember, I was seeing double. And in those quiet, still moments, I always tell the story that there's nothing like watching God work. And in the silence of my business, there is nothing like watching things just work out. Now, nobody ever talks about the quiet moments, the ones between the big announcements and the hustle updates, the space between "I'm fine" and "oh my gosh, I don't even know anymore." Those moments aren't glamorous because they don't photograph well, but that's where the real work happens, in the quiet. I think about how loud life can get. Those constant notifications, your phone ringing and dinging, the feeling like you have to constantly prove yourself. It's almost like if you're not doing it publicly, it doesn't count. Like when you've walked all those miles and your fitness tracker was in your pocket. But here's the truth. Some of the most powerful shifts I've ever had came when nobody was watching. like sitting in a car, waiting to pick up a kid, hands on the steering wheel, just kind of staring off into space, not angry, not upset, just quiet. That's the kind of silence that strips you down to who you really are because you can hear. Everything else, the loud, fades away and it's just you. You start hearing things differently when everything goes still. The noise fades, and what's left is you, your truth, your fear, your hope, your thoughts, and honestly, your next move. This can be uncomfortable because that silence forces you to face what you've been running from. And I mean running hard. All that doubt, and you're already exhausted. Sometimes the thought that maybe I'm not cut out for this sneaks in, but I've learned to listen in these quiet moments. The quiet doesn't mean nothing's happening. It means the roots are working. Now I've never personally seen a plant grow or a tree grow, but I know that it's growing. It means you're being strengthened for the next season, even if it doesn't look like. Every season of growth has that quiet in between. Before your launch, before your sale, before those, oh my gosh, that is amazing. Yeah, before those messages. The quiet is where you learn to sit with yourself and not even flinch. So if you're in a quiet season right now, don't rush it. Sit in it. Don't try to fill it with noise or fake motivation. Yeah, I've got this. Yeah, I've got this. You absolutely do. But let the quiet do its work. Because when the noise comes back, and it always does, right on time, you'll be grounded enough to just kind of stand in it differently. So this week, you have to give yourself permission to be still. No major posts, no proving yourself, no pretending about anything. As a matter of fact, schedule all your social media for about 2 weeks. Just you, your thoughts, and those quiet moments that we never talk about. That's where the real transformation comes. And maybe, just maybe, you'll find something in that time.